thieves, skellums, discount bandits. The reputation of the interior decorator is at stake. The industry has changed so much in the last 10 years, and a man who is on the pulse is an incredible gentleman with a business that has gone back over half a century. Charles Gonsenhauser. And Charles, thank you for joining me today. It's amazing to see how the industry's changed, but I know you've got a bit of a gripe with the industry because there are these kind of discount bandits out there. They are bringing down the reputation of the industry. They are bringing down the reputation of the interior designer. Tell us why.
Hi, Scott. Thanks for having me on. Yes, I am very fortunate to have this knowledge. From my experience in the industry, the interior designers who rely very heavily on the commissions they make with these products are being diddled largely because the product itself is so complicated and so multifaceted that they have no idea what the price point in the end should be. So the marketing strategies used by various carpet dealers to give starting price massive discounts of up to 80 or 90% is merely a marketing strategy that fools the designer.
So as a designer, I mean, you want what's best for your client, but now why are they falling for this? What is it? Because surely it's obvious if you see an 80% discount, you're going to go, okay, clearly there's something wrong here. I need to be careful. What is that hook that seems to be alluring them into the dark side?
So I think as we talk about this, in the last 10 years, as you mentioned, there's been a massive shift in the industry to more middle and entry-level rugs. And the price point and the budget issues, particularly during COVID, has meant that people think that they have less to spend. In my opinion, the price point is being manipulated by various operators in the market because people don't understand what the price point should be. So there are rugs being made in many different countries in many different ways with a plethora of different products. And the end user, unless they're totally educated, which they wouldn't be if they weren't specifically in the industry, they wouldn't have any idea of what that price would be. So the price is being manipulated by the vendor because of the ignorance of the end user.
Wow. Okay. Now let's go into this because you've said this before, Charles. You talk about this concept that it's time for interior designers, interior decorators to buy a grown-up rug. What does that mean?
So Scott, it's quite simple, and it works the same with appliances, and it works the same with clothing that you buy. If one goes in for the lowest possible price point for a product, one has to understand that you're buying a low-end inferior product and the quality will give various problems. In the rug industry, what we'll find is that things are made on a machine. They're made with substandard composition of wool or silk or polypropylene. They're made synthetic, and this leads to a bunch of problems. So sun damage, fading, difficult to clean, easy fraying, easy tear apart, rugs that last for 3 to 6 months, maybe even a year, where you would need to replace that rug once every year or 2 years. Whereas if you spent maybe double that, you would have a rug that lasts you 10 or 15 years, and in some cases would last forever. So I think it's the same as I mentioned with anything that you buy. It makes more sense to have a greater spend upfront and to ensure that you have a higher end product which gives it much greater longevity.
Well, I totally agree with you. So how does this work in practice though? Because I'm guessing that your frustration has been born from real world stories. You've been in this game for, you've been in the business for over half a century, an incredible reputation. So it must be frustrating you. What stories do you hear that have brought you to this conclusion?
So Scott, we are very fortunate to work with the top interior designers in the country and some of the most high-end residential properties, not only in South Africa, but across the world. So the experience is deep and meaningful and runs across all forms of rugs. And we're experiencing, because of this new shift in the last 10 years of cheaper product, We have a full cleaning and repair department, so we're able to see what's coming in, what doesn't budge in terms of stain, what is fading in terms of sunlight, and to see what it is that is inferior quality product. And we're cleaning 20 to 30 low-end rugs a week that are not budging. We're seeing rugs that are destroyed and falling apart that are 3 months old. So we really are convinced that it makes more sense to buy more high-end and buy an adult rug. And I'm not talking about spending the very top end. We're saying go in the middle of the market. And we're able to back that up with something sensational. We would offer all of our customers an entire year to exchange anything that they purchase from us as if it was brand new. And I think that the talking, you know, the eating is in the pudding, you know.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the concept of commission. And, you know, just straight out there, you know, these discount guys that come up with these 80 to 90% discount, inferior quality. Talk to us about how this actually hurts the commission of the interior designer.
So Scott, it's a really simple concept. I think that any retailer is trying to get the end user to buy directly from them. And one of the ways that these guys go about it is if you hang up signs of 50% to 90% discount on your product, walking through these giant malls, it's quite simple to work out two things. The first of them is that the price on the item is not the correct price, that they've just been escalated in order to offer a marketing strategy style discount. And the second of them is, how is the interior designer supposed to put a rug into their client's home through one of these particular retailers where they don't know where the price point should be? So I'll give you an example. So Mr. Smith and his wife are walking through Canal Walk. They see a rug hanging on a wall with a tag that says less 70% on it. The interior designer shops around it looking for the perfect piece for their home. If they were to go into that particular vendor, they would have to go and speak to them about the commission structure that they could expect. Now, they've already had a sign on the rug that says there's a discount of 70%. So how is the retailer going to make sure that the designer, who is actually the core of the business, these are the guys we really need to look after, how is the designer going to make the living for which they are working to do the job in Mr. and Mrs. Smith's home?
It's a great decision, a great dilemma that's happening. And I'm really glad that you open enough to speak about this. And you've also mentioned some other dubious things that have taken place. For example, this, you know, databases, they create their own databases. There's this undercurrent of trying to deal directly with the clients and almost skip over the interior designer. Now, that's an issue, right?
Yeah, so Scott, you know, without delving into the deeply dark side, I'm concerned that there are businesses that create databases from similar decor products. And those databases are interior design databases for using one or another of their products. And they rely very heavily on the interior designers to pull in their clients to buy their product. It becomes a problem when these people then start offering a product direct to their customers. And this again, just like the discount structure of the vendor in the mall, this again cuts out the commission of the hardworking interior designer whose entire well-being and job it is to decorate Mr. and Mrs. Smith's home. It should, in my opinion, be that if Mr. and Mrs. Smith are being looked after by Decorator X, then if they need a product from any vendor, the database of that vendor should be with the interior designer, and all quotes should go through them, and not under any circumstance directly dealing with that vendor who was brought to them in the first place by the interior designer.
You've explained that so well. Very simply, don't bypass the core of the whole deal, so to speak, which is the interior designer. They are the most important people, and I can hear that your integrity is with the interior designer, and it's really important that they stay that integrity is maintained at all costs. And I totally agree with that. So my last question to you now, Charles, is this issue of choice, because over the last decade and beyond, choice has gone through the roof. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith feel that they have an infinite opportunity, so many more options to choose from. And there's this kind of perception in the market that, okay, I can get, if I go to a more of a kind of elitist kind of brand offering, then the offering is going to be narrower. Sorry if I'm not explaining it in the right industry terminology, but you don't have as much choice. Whereas if you go to these discount guys, they seem to be offering so much choice. How has this plethora of choice impacted you and your business?
Well, Scott, I think that in the short term, when there is an abundance of subgrade quality product that comes into the market, there is an adjustment period where people spread themselves out a little thin by trying all the new product in the market. But having seen this over quite an extended period now, I think that one has to learn a lesson the hard way, and we have never been busier than we are. So guys have learned a hard lesson. I think that there's some important lessons to learn, and that is that when you have the opportunity to return a product, that is security, that the salesman's word is not the word that you're looking for, that you need a guarantee that you can return a product that has a problem. And the fact that we have been in business since 1936 and never let a customer down speaks volumes. So, I think that, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys.
Wow. Thank you so much, Charles. If you're an interior designer and by some miracle you don't have his details already, you can get Charles's details from Gonsenhauser's rugs right underneath in the description. Charles, once again, thank you so much for joining me on scottcundill.com.
Thank you for having me on your show, Scott. It's been a pleasure.